from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. My name is Mehmet, and as you know, in each episode, I cover different topics from emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, digital transformation, fintech, health tech, and also I cover as well startups and entrepreneurships. And as you know by now, in the show, I host with me subject matter experts, entrepreneurs that also they are expert in the field they do. And I'm very pleased to have with me Charlie today. Charlie, thank you very much for being on the show. Can you just introduce yourself and what you are up to?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I've listened to a bunch of the podcasts after we connected and really enjoyed them. So I'm Charlie Meaden. I'm the CEO of Gembot.ai. And Gembot is basically your AI investing assistant in your pocket. And we are helping users augment automation and AI into their investing strategies and their wealth management.
That's very cool. Um, First question, Charlie, like what have brought you to this field? I mean, to uh, technology,
Yes.
AI. Yeah.
Yeah, to take a step back, previous to this, I was in the gaming industry and I built a gaming platform for that did it was basically like a reward platform for gaming. And after the aqua hire we went through, I then started getting into investing. But um, you know, what got me there was getting into technology, learning how to save very well, and then starting to want to put my money to work. And I didn't have enough money to do angel investing well. So I wanted to come up with a very strong system for investing. And being that I had a technical background and I was very interested in building systems, I was like, well, I want to build a systematic strategy utilizing automation and AI to help me invest, but still having that kind of human nuanced thinking involved in my strategy. So basically, I built my own systematic strategy over about 3 years. And then I was like, well, I think that other people could benefit from this. And I've been running my own strategy now since 2019. And it's been really good.
That's cool. So, like, what what exactly Gambot is all about? Like, can you just explain? What's the base, how it helps people there, and then we can dive a little bit into the AI
Yeah.
part of it and
Yep.
the tech part. Yeah,
Yeah, sounds good. So I'll just yeah, the platform intends to basically help you manage and execute your investing and your investing strategy. And we have a bunch of functionality on our site to help you do that. So we have the ability to create these collaborative watch lists where you can do research with other people. You can use our AI assistant to, learn about investing, do research on historical kind of financial events, and even constructing, portfolios and researching kind of known portfolios like the all-weather portfolio from Ray Dalio, and then, you know, merging it with Kathy Wood's kind of investing principles. And then we've got some multi-ordering features, and we've got a brokerage capabilities so that you can trade and invest in US equities, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies.
and this
So
relies
that's
on
kind of what
AI, Charlie.
Yep.
This relies on AI.
So our well, we've got a number of AI pieces in the platform, but we're starting to really trying to innovate in the generative AI space. And at
Mm-hmm.
the moment, we're using a GPT model and then feeding specific context in regards to the user, their situation, and high quality data to make sure that the assistant can give better responses than a standard GPT, like ChatGPT kind of instance.
Okay. And now, just out of curiosity, we know, like, when we talk about ChatGPT is not like kind of real time, in the sense that it stopped the
That's
knowledge
right.
at a certain time.
That's right.
So how you can utilize it? Like, I know, like, now the plugins are starting to play some role here, but like, how you can describe, giving ChatGPT such capabilities?
Yeah, so just in regards to that, you can obviously provide context, and you can work with GPT, the API, to actually kind of read from your um, data, and also take care of functions, activate functions. Now, the generative AI is just one part of it. It's kind of how you interface with the application. But ultimately, underneath the generative AI, there's got to be functions that, are specific for different tasks so that they're accurate, and they're not kind of, there isn't kind of any randomness to it, right? When the more you ask the assistant to do things, the more you want to make sure that it's using, clean data, clean functions, so it can be accurate. So it's about merging and augmenting that experience with kind of traditional risk management and, uh, you know, kind of portfolio management, I guess.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of, I would say, hype about generative AI, mainly ChatGPT. From your experience, Charlie, like, where do you think ChatGPT can take us? What are the limitations with generative AI?
It's not just GPT, right? There are so many other models, which is interesting. And people are going to choose which models resonate with them most, right? You got some people that use Bard, some people that use GPT. It's going to be a user preference thing at the end of the day. But over the next 5 years, very specific applications are going to come out that are going to solve specific problems, and that's going to be able to improve productivity, and efficiencies within businesses and people's lives. And then obviously you're going to have these kind of more monolith models and kind of interfaces which kind of compete for your kind of your attention, right? So you're going to have Google that are going to have a lot of that integrated into their feature set, and then you're going to have, say, Microsoft, and then what Apple are doing with um, generative AI, well, AI in general, and then of course how they're mixing that with hardware is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Now, coming back to the fintech part of it, so
Mm.
you have applied generative AI into trading signals, basically, and I mean, trading in the stock market. What other, like, spaces you see generative AI is coming into the uh, finance sector?
In the finance sector, you could also see a lot of content being created through generative AI, which people will consume, whether that be kind of like newsletters and different summaries. We're also going to see this potentially with different levels of wealth management and budgeting. We're working on functionality at the moment. It's with investing, it's not just about um, kind of buying with a specific amount of capital. It's about saving more and regularly contributing. So, if you connect your bank accounts and your investment accounts to Gembot, can we use our AI to help save you 4% a year? Because if we save you 4% a year, you'll retire with 27% more money.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're looking at seeing how we can kind of come in and merge, mix the things that we need to to help people have better financial outcomes. So for us, that's how do we use generative AI and just automation, just good old fashioned efficiency to improve people's to save, to learn, and then to save and invest. So, you know, they gotta reduce their outgoings, gotta learn about financial literacy, and you gotta then regularly contribute to your investing,
That's
accounts.
that's interesting. So, do you think that this will lead to some jobs being wiped out because of this? Like maybe portfolio managers or I don't know, financial planners? What's your take on this?
My Twitter handle is Cyborg Charlie, okay? And that's because I think that this is an opportunity for a merge. We're all kind of cyborgs with our phones, right? And um, this is going to displace certain kind of the ways. Nothing's going to change, but the ways we do things might change, right?
Hmm.
So people are then going to move on and find the next thing to work on and be in and kind of do, like we've seen that time and time again in history. So I try not to think about well, no, you've got to think about kind of the ramifications, the unintended consequences, and the risks. But I'm not too worried about humans not having anything to do because I believe that humans are very creative and they'll always find stuff to do. But
Uh,
we do have to consider what it means for wealth gaps and inequality potentially if there's no way to get income. But that's why I've been advocating for young people to build equity. It doesn't just have to be stock market, but build equity. Go and get equity in something, and
yeah.
then that's how you can get non-linear outcomes, right?
Yep. So now going on the same point, and just that this is like my own view on this is, yeah, technologies change the landscape. Um, like careers get wiped out, some jobs get wiped out. But I think with AI, it's like this augmentation of,
That's right.
yeah. So we've talked a lot about it in the show. Now here, and I want to come back to the financial part. Like it requires some human interaction sometimes because let me ask you, like from what you are seeing now, how accurate is now, for example, a model like ChatGPT in predicting, for example, how a stock will go up or down, maybe a crypto will go up or down. How much still it requires human, intervention when it does the what's supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, without using the API or doing work on it, it's not necessarily going to be let's say accurate, right? It's about the application and how you use the generative AI to help you with what you're doing, right? So can it help you build a portfolio, right? Based on your risk parameters, on your goals, on kind of the things you want to do. Can it help you research? Yes,
Mhm.
but it's going to be a situation where you kind of get out. It's not the same Netflix subscription for every user. Some users are going to get a Lamborghini and some users are going to get a Nissan Leaf.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the Nissan Leaf's great. So, like if that's just a modeled portfolio where I can save, you know, 10% of my salary every year, that's going to create amazing outcomes for me, and I don't have to do anything and it's, very low fees. That's good. But some people might want to actually generate alpha from the platform and really kind of do creative things like create multiple strategies, and then potentially have kind of macro, kind of an overarching macro kind of risk situation where you could use agents to do that for you.
Hmm. Hmm. So I will come back to the agents part, but like you mentioned something about someone who can create an alpha and someone who can create, something else. I think the same concept of applying what's called prompt engineering also applies when it comes to here, right?
It's massive. It's massive. The prompts that you give the system massively dictate the outcome for you. And that's our challenge, is how do we then intervene with the prompt to improve the prompt,
Mm-hmm.
to then actually make sure that there's a response worth having back. And
Do you think,
that's such a
Charlie?
pressing problem.
Do you think even like someone like Google or OpenAI themselves, they know how to enhance the prompt?
That Well, they must be thinking about that, right?
Yeah, I've seen something very interesting. I use a tool, maybe you know it. It's called Jasper,
Okay.
Jasper.ai. So Jasper actually it came out. I think they were relying on OpenAI APIs before ChatGPT came out,
Yeah.
and you know they can generate text and so on. So now they got a function which is very cool. Um, so when you type something in the chat box, because they converted their UI was like you need to give some, you know, like description, what are you
Mhm.
trying to generate, and so on. So now they made it as a chat box, same as the Chat GPT one. And once you type the sentence, they have a small button that says enhance my chat. I mean, so
Right.
they do something in the background, and then for example, if I say I want a blog post for, I don't know, like something related to fintech, and I say enhance this prompt, you get something similar to this. You are an experienced writer in the sector of finance and exposure in the technology sector. You have written a lot of articles on the topic, and today I want you to write for me an article that discuss blah 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 blah. You know, it's something, you know, that caught my attention, and always I'm asking, okay, like who really have the keys? I would say to get the language model to fully, you know, go full throttle. I think we are still in the early
We're
stages.
in the early stages here.
Yeah.
Really,
So,
there's a long way to go.
and because
Um,
I always experiment, Charlie, and you know, I want to hear your experience every time, and I interact with ChatGPT honestly every day. So for the people who goes to my
yeah.
consultancy company website and you see the about us, so I have myself, I have, you know, my partner, and we have a logo for ChatGPT, and I call it a
Yeah.
chief content officer.
Yeah.
So what's your experience in this, Charlie?
Oh, and we've been doing it for, we've been using automation and GPT and, other systems, specifically, products that also help you build those automated systems. We've been using them for years. And obviously, we've been using them in our strategy to actually execute our investing. But
Hmm.
also now we're thinking about how do we use it internally? All of our developers use co-pilots and utilize that to get better productivity. We're using the assistant in our investing research. you know
Hmm.
it's it's a great tool, but I think at the moment there's a long way to go in the product. Like, I think that all the products can improve a lot more um over the next couple of years. And there's going to be a lot of improvements that need to be made, because there is still a level of, okay, writing a blog post, one thing, but making sure that your investments and the kind of strategies and the kind of mathematics is all right. That's important. I mean, blog posts are important too, right? But like, when you're dealing with kind of numbers and money, you need to make sure that, like, it's highly accurate.
Yeah, you mentioned something couple of times. You mentioned that automation plus the AI. Now, I've covered something related to these autonomous bots, you know, like something like Auto GPT, there's
Yeah.
Baby AGI. Uh, do you think like really we can reach a phase where, let's say myself, I just have an idea in my mind, I go give it to the bots, and the bots will do it for me? Are we going to reach something similar?
Well, at the moment, it'd have to be a task that's kind of repetitive and known every time. Um, but you wouldn't be able to be like, "Well, go create me this business." Well, you might be able to. You might be able to create some like very known businesses. You might be able to give an agent in the not too distant future, like, make me a drop shipping business, and maybe it can actually work it out. There's no real reason for it to not, right? Now, whether it makes any money, is a different story, of course. But that I can see being potentially doable. And I think that in the next 5 years, with what we're doing and with what other companies are doing, you one or two people could be having the power of a hedge fund. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think, Charlie, to your point, maybe it's not like they will come up with the business idea, but something. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and I said, "Listen, we will come up with the idea, but imagine, for example, there's a bot, an AI powered bot that goes and do all the heavy lifting for us. For example, we have an idea, we give the idea there, and then it would go give a business name, find a domain, register the domain, build a website, build landing pages, social media handles, and once it's done, come, hey, I've done this. What should I do next? Okay, go and start to do marketing next. So of course, and this is why I'm giving this example for people who are listening. Like, guys, don't be afraid of AI. Like, because you are in the control all the time. You wanted to say something, Charlie, I
Mm.
think.
Oh well, no, I just thought that was really interesting. Yeah, you could definitely use generative AI to kind of seed a business, right, with a prompt, and then go and do all your setup process. Give
Yeah.
you options of different domains, give you options of different handles. There's no reason why that's achievable. And yeah, like you say, we are the composers of the system still, right now
Yes,
at least.
100%. Actually, it was for fun, and it was like it went viral. Someone who let ChatGPT act as Hustle GPT. If you have seen this one,
I think
and I
so.
have, yeah, I have even some like friends that they
Yep.
tried it. I've seen two scenarios. I've seen one where they were able to sell. Actually, they came up with an idea. They built it quickly on a no-code tool, and then they sold it for, I think, for like $500. And then the next challenge like was to make something big. I need to check what happened later, but the aim was to sell. I mean, to create the website and then sell it for
Yep.
$5,000. So
Right.
yeah, but again, like we will be in control all the time. Now,
Yep.
um, beside, I would say, fintech and trading, where other hot trends are you seeing where really generative AI can intersect and can disrupt markets?
Legal. I think that's obvious.
Okay.
um, Tax, and kind of accounting.
Hmm.
Um, Therapy potentially. I'd say.
Okay.
Um, that's a bit of a random one, but I think that it might be the right time, and people might adopt that sort of thing. I don't know what the regulation kind of space would look like in that. I think that would be pretty difficult. I think that doctors could easily utilize it when it comes to getting the right information and then
Hmm.
analyzing it across their database of history and diagnosis.
Yeah.
But also just for helping dictation and making sure the data you've got in your system is accurate and you're kind of picking out all the things.
Yep.
So I mean, I think you know, it's gonna move across uh,
It's
all
exciting time.
areas.
Yeah. We're gonna have exciting times ahead, I would say.
Well, interesting. So, because of all of this generative AI and the increase in demand of data, all the data costs are going up dramatically, which is going to create inflationary pressures. Um, but then the AI conversely will create deflationary pressures. So
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting.
Very, very interesting indeed. Now, Charlie, like shifting a little bit gears, you've been, you told me you started with the gaming, and then you did this shifts. Um, what do you advise fellow people who are interested to take same path? Like, I'm sure, like, you have a lot of, I would say, things that you learn down the road, and you tell yourself, I wish I knew that before. So what are like these
In terms of
advices?
being a founder, in terms of being a founder,
Yes, in terms of being a founder. Yeah.
yeah, being a founder um, is interesting, and it's a very fulfilling path. But you know, I read a book once called Thinking in Bets. It's by a poker player, a professional female poker player,
Ah, I've seen their
and
video the other day. Yeah, I know.
you know, for me, one of the most important things has been that basically I detach the outcome from the decision. So when
Mm-hmm.
I decide to build a gaming startup, I want to be happy because I want it to be obviously a profitable endeavor, or because I want to solve a specific problem, or I want to help gamers like get involved into esports and feel more rewarded from the effort and passion they have for gaming. Um, and then, you know, if I make the decision to build that business, you know, am I happy with the decision? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter so much about the outcome. Like I have some desired outcomes and I have some undesirable outcomes, but that isn't, you know, my kind of thing. I'd say is like, you know, kind of focus on trying to make really good decisions with the information you have, and then not being too concerned. Not you got to be concerned about the outcomes, but you know what I mean. Like it's, you know, it's about kind of not worrying about the outcome.
So it's fine to fail in a sense. Like, don't be afraid of failure because you're gonna, you know, do mistakes,
Well,
right?
you know, there's a Howard Marks is a famous investor, and he had this famous memo he wrote was "I beg to differ."
Mm-hmm.
And I beg to differ memo was all about if you want to get better than average returns, you have to be different from the market. And that's where the I beg to differ. Everyone wants to differ from the market, but if they differ from the market, they risk losing more than the market and are underperforming.
Yes.
Um, and ultimately, you've just got to try and, you know, be different so that you can provide something kind of new to the market and value to kind of the things you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you on this one, Charlie. Charlie, as we come, you know, almost to the end, I have a famous question. What is the
Yeah.
question that you wished me to ask?
So can you repeat that, please? Yeah.
What is the question that you wished I asked you?
Oh, um, I went on a podcast recently, and the question they asked was, "What's the one thing I could give you?" No, what's the one thing I could give the audience that I think everyone should like have listen to or read?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it's the Naval podcast, How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. The
Yeah.
3-hour podcast, but it's revolutionary, I think.
I tried to listen to it, but I get the book,
The
which
book's
is
good. The
yeah.
almanac.
And I'm like, yeah, it's an eye opener. Actually, it's a very good book. I advise everyone. I think
Yep.
you know, like I'm bootstrapping my podcast. So guys,
Yep.
I think we need to dedicate some episodes just about books. So let's see when we can do
Totally.
it. Yeah, sure. Charlie, like really, I enjoyed the discussion. I will make sure that people can have a look on Gambot, right? So I'll put the link in the episode. I
Mm,
mean description, and also it will be on YouTube. You can,
yep.
as you can see now, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. Thank you
Yep.
very much, Charlie, for
Awesome.
being with us here today. And for my audience, as usual, if you are first time here and you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. If you are listening on your favorite podcasting platform, also don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We are trying to get really good content. And as you can see, we have the best of the best. Like Charlie was with us today. He's the CEO of Gembot. And we have a lineup of CEOs also coming. And I hope, as always, to give me your feedback. If you have any questions, get them to me. You can reach out to me by email, LinkedIn, or Twitter, where I'm the most active. If you are also interested to be a guest on the show, like Charlie was today, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I would be more than happy to discuss this as well. And as I say at the end, Until we meet the next episode, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.